Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Windshield Time, the podcast where we help you use your windshield time to turn learning into earning. Windshield Time is brought to you, of course, as always, by Service Excellence. I'm your host, Chris Elmore, and joining me again for this episode is my good friend, Jesse Olson, owner of the Happy Outlet in Carson City, Nevada. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about, again, the three non-technical roles of a technician, and we're going to talk about the problem solver today, and maybe get into the revenue producer. We'll see. Let's have a conversation. Stay tuned. So, Jesse, what's the karaoke thing behind you on your bulletin board?
Oh, yeah. Right there.
Now, don't start moving production stuff around here. Okay, what is that? What does that say? You're an adequate karaoke person?
So,
whoa, you almost fell out of your chair.
That's good. All right, so this is an award I got at our Christmas party last year because I'm known for anything anybody says, it reminds me of a lyric to a song, and I'll start breaking out in song. That's the kind of fun we have here in the office.
Okay.
Singing songs all day.
I do the same thing. And my wife is watching a show. I watch it with her. It comes on HBO. It's about the Gilded Age, and it's about, you know, the just the excess money of the Gilded Age and all that in the late 1800s in the U.S. And one of the characters is a railroad person. And he's trying to buy the Illinois Central Railroad. What song are you thinking of now?
I know it's not the right song, but I'm thinking of a song about jumping off the Tallahassee Bridge.
No, that's what is that? Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry. No, that's not it. I'll give you the line.
Okay.
The Illinois Central and the Southern Central Freight.
Oh, geez. The train they call the city of New Orleans. No? I swear
I'll
that
give
was
you the band, Doobie Brothers.
Oh boy, I feel so ashamed that I don't know this because this is right up my musical alley. I have no idea.
Okay. I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to let you off the hook.
Is it Listen to the Music?
No, I don't think so. Is the I don't know the exact title, but is it Talk About Love? Where would you be now? Now.
Oh, where would you be now?
Yeah.
Think about love.
Okay, I know your certificate says you're a karaoke star, but Alex, you with me on this? He's not.
Where would
he
you
said
be?
You would benefit from auto-tune heavily.
Okay, yeah.
Heavy auto-tune would heavily benefit your singing.
Melodyne? You can put some Melodyne on me?
Do you know what that is, Alex? It sounds like a chemical, and if it would make you better, then let's put it on him. It sounds like one of those things your grandma would wipe on you that would turn you orange because you got a cut on your knee.
Iodine.
Okay. All right. So what's your favorite karaoke song to sing?
Boy, the girls just asked me that the other day. That's I'm hesitant
That's
to
what us girls do.
Since we've got all these people, our two listeners watching us.
No,
right?
we got way more than that. No. Our marketing person, Joshua Entis, who lives in Indonesia, by the way. Shout out to Joshua. He says, stop saying you have two listeners. You have way more than that. How many?
So how many is it, Chris?
Way more.
What's the number?
It's probably in the thousands by now.
Really? That's awesome. It's awesome. Well, see, now I don't want to say. I'll say. So they were asking me what's my number one karaoke that I would do that I really know the words well. And I'm ashamed to admit this, but it's probably going to be Fergie, Big Girls Don't Cry.
Alex just did a spit take in there in the production booth. He just did a spit take. So, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's after a couple of vodka cranberries with the lime wedge. So.
Really?
Yeah,
how do you fit that in as you're debating to the random stranger on your left about the benefits of arc fault breakers? Because that's usually what happens. That's okay. That's okay. We all have that one friend who just can't stop talking about arc fault breakers. So we'll just leave it there.
Maybe you have that one friend.
So let's get into this. Let's talk about the problem solver part of that. And the first thing that happens, and even happened with David on a previous episode when we were talking about it, most technicians, when they hear problem solver, they go, I got that because I'm a technician.
Yep.
Okay. That's okay. I will say this. Remember in the beginning, we talked about the 3 non-technical roles, but every one of these roles is supported and stands on top of your technical excellence. So your technical excellence is part of being a client delighter. You can't delight a client if you can't fix it. You're not a problem solver if you can't fix it. You are not a revenue producer if you can't fix it. You can't diagnose and fix it. You can't do those things. So these all 3 of these things stand atop your technical excellence. And so when we get
I got a word for you in James's absence. A big word in James's absence. It's not as big as the words he would normally use, but they are complementarity.
That you just made that up.
No, it's a real word.
It's like
here.
Do you know science? Yes, I understand gravitivity.
No. I got you the definition right here. Complementarity in physics or other sciences. Complementarity describes 2 different properties that together provide the complete picture. Each is necessary to fully understand the whole.
Okay, I like that. Alex, can I get some verification on that? Complementarity. Sounds like a made-up word, but that's okay. If you keep using that word, I know it means what you think it means, so we're good. All right. Okay.
But you're absolutely right.
Our fact checker, Alex, has just said it's right. It's real.
All right. So you're absolutely right, though. The technical is embedded in every single one of these roles.
Yeah.
Like they are.
And just like we're talking about a client delighter, you show up in a great truck, you get out, you look great, you have confidence, all these kind of things, but you got no idea where to start, right? And you don't ask any questions, you don't ask the technical questions and stuff that a customer's expecting, then how can you delight them? So now we're talking about problem solver. And so to be a true problem solver, for instance, we've been talking about the doctor. You go in there with the doctor comes in, evaluates you, leaves the room. The nurse comes in. Okay, Mr. Olson, you're all done. Here's your prescription. What you're like, prescription for what? Oh, well, it's that pain in your side you were having. This is a prescription for that. Well, wait a minute. Well, what is the pain in my what's the pain from? What caused it? How can I, will this treat it? Will it go away? Is this something that I'm going to deal with? Do I need tests to see if it's nothing more? Oh, no, you're good. You just take these and it'll be fine. You're like, okay. You have no confidence. You do not feel like your problem has been solved, mainly because you don't know what your problem is. It has no name.
There it is. I made a note when you and David were talking on the previous podcast, and I had an experience at a doctor not too long ago where they just came in. Of course, the client delighter part that we talked about, none of that was there. came back in the room though and did exactly what you're talking about. There was no expectations that were set. There was no like what's going on, or I was just totally like, oh, okay. Exactly the scenario you're describing. And my note to myself was no expectations. So, I mean, could that be part of the customer delighter? Sure. But I think setting the expectations probably does fall more under the problem solver.
Well, I think, but as we talked about with technical excellence, it is intertwined with all these things are interconnected too. They're not linear. So you're not a client delighter and then you stop being a client delighter and then you're a problem solver and then you stop and you become a revenue producer. No, they're all intertwined, the technical role. So the 4 roles are all intertwined and happening simultaneously. And so you're right about that point. But the meat of being a problem solver, we always think is the technical piece, right? And it is. I would say,
yeah,
it is. But if I am the best technician in the world and I cannot relate it to a customer, if I cannot translate to them and not just speak to them in a language they understand, but speak to them in their language, which means their profile, right? Customer-friendly language adapted to their profile, that is their language.
You're a teacher in a way. You know, I had a guy that we were doing our apprenticeship class that started yesterday. It was first day of class back. And they were asking about what happens with years 2 and 3 and 4. I teach year 1. And they're like, well, why don't you teach that? Well, it's time and we need more teachers. But, you know, somebody that knows, and here's the problem I had told them. I said, what we need is the right fit. We don't need somebody that just knows their trade and knows the stuff. We need somebody that can teach well, that can come up with different analogies and metaphors when the first one isn't working.
Absolutely. And again, we go back to the doctor who, well, I think you used house as an example, right?
Yeah.
In the show, brilliant doctor, genius doctor, but is a horrible communicator.
Yep.
So, yeah, we get the job done, but
kind of comes at it as you should just believe me because I'm house.
Yes. Yep. And so I think that when we talk about the problem solver role, we have to go beyond that. And so let's break it down to what I feel are its parts, which is the first thing is after, again, technical excellence always is there. So you're technically excellent and you find the problem. You've got to be able to communicate the problem in a way that does not overly, it's not overly dramatic. And like, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it, but I have to communicate the problem in a way that relates where the customer can understand it, but also doesn't create undue urgency or lack appropriate urgency.
They need to know that what needs to happen. They need to, well, you're talking about stimulating the need if we're putting labels on it, but they need to have a motivation to act.
They do, but it cannot be from a place of exaggeration.
Yeah, we don't want to ever use scare tactics or anything like that. For us as electricians, fire is the big F word. We're gonna if a fire is really a danger, we're not gonna hesitate to use that. But that's something we try to stay away from unless it's really the issue, right?
Well, I think where it comes in sometimes too is not in necessarily explaining what the problem is, but overcoming objections. Because part of problem solving is not just relating the problem, relating what needs to happen and what you're going to do about it and the price and all that stuff. It's also conveying, it's also helping them understand how to get it done. If time, money, emotion, or anything else, the position in the heavens of Mercury, whatever else, or whether their dog told them to or not, all that stuff. You got to help them figure out how to get done and how to handle those complications, those conditions.
And let's be clear too. Getting it done isn't just how can you afford it. That's part of it for sure. But getting it done can be, let's get your spouse on the phone. Getting it done can be,
it's handling objections.
It can be scheduling. What works best for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. We've done a podcast before on what the customer spends. They spend time, money, and emotion, and every objection comes from one of those three things. One or more of those three things. And so problem solving in this case is also understanding how to help with objections, handle objections. So problem solving, again, if we go back to the beginning, is relating what the issue is and creating the appropriate level of urgency, not too much and not too little. And I think that comes in from like understanding the best way to communicate and translate, because you can translate things in a way that increases urgency unintentionally. And I think sometimes handling objections, this is where it happens, where we overly stress something or we talk about dire consequences that could come from it. But again, let's go the doctor route. Doctor says to me, I've got pain in my knee. I go to the doctor. Oh yeah, you've torn your meniscus. Well, what does that mean? What if I don't fix it? Well, if you don't fix it, you can get arthritis, and then eventually you're going to need a knee replacement. Wait a minute. There's more to that explanation to help me dial in the urgency of it, right?
Like, do I need to do it today or a month from now?
It means that probably with, in my experience, in the next 20 years or so, you'll probably, if you don't take care of this now, arthritis is going to accelerate, and you'll probably need a knee replacement in the next 10 years. If we take care of it now, then, you're talking maybe 20 years.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was getting at with the scheduling. And it's not just about the money. Can they afford it? Scheduling might be a day, but scheduling could also be, what do I need to do first?
Could be.
Could be. And that kind of go along the lines. But it's interesting that you say that, that we tend to over exaggerate because.
Well, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Alex, is it possible to over exaggerate?
Extra over exaggerate?
Well, to me, it's like a hot water heater. Is there really such a thing as a hot water heater?
No, it's cold when it goes in.
Well, because if I had hot water, why would I need to heat it? Right? So it's a water heater. And so can you over exaggerate or can you just exaggerate, which is over anyway? I'm just asking. Things to think about. Okay, go ahead.
The things that go through Chris Elmore's head.
Yes.
I can't say that they don't go through my head either, but the reason I find that interesting that you think that texts typically tend to over-exaggerate.
I didn't say over-exaggerate. I said they can exaggerate, but not over.
They can exaggerate or overstimulate or whatever,
yes,
right?
There you go.
Okay. All right. Because what I've seen in my experience from helping techs and training them is that we actually tend to minimize stuff because we can do it ourselves. And so we put that on the customer and we tend to be like, yeah, it's fine. This will be good. This is good enough.
I hear what you're saying. I share that, but I would define it a different way. I think technicians can not purposely, but there's a tendency we can exaggerate the dire consequences and we can minimize the effort of the repair.
Okay.
So the repair doesn't sound as valuable because we say things like, yo, I can just knock that out. Or, the worst thing you could say, oh, that only take me like 10 minutes.
Well, those are things that minimize like you said, the value of the repair. But what I was getting at more is I've seen techs and I've done it myself where, you know, when you just get started out and you haven't been exposed to these other skills and things that we're talking about, you tend to be like, that outlet, we can fix the outlet. And that's all you really need. That's all you need for now. Like that doctor, go back to your doctor with the knee. What if the doctor had said, well, that's all you really need for right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I buy that. Yeah, that's good. So problem solving, again, we talk about handling objections, but there's a big part of that that's a fundamental skill. And the more I've taught it, the more I experience it, the more I've experienced it in ride-alongs, the more I've taught it, is the skill is really translation. That to me is a better way to describe it. Because if you can't relay to the customer what you found, what needs to be done, and how you're going to do it, how much it's going to cost, and then you can't help them overcome the objection there, then you're not you can't prove the value of problem solving. You cannot show the vastness and the importance of your technical knowledge and the value of that. And so the skill here really, to me, is translation, and it's understanding, because when you see translators, those people, it's not an intellectual exercise only.
No, it's hard.
So think about it. You got to know, if you're translating from English to Spanish and you're trying to translate the word cat, okay? What's cat in Spanish? Alex, do you know? Gato. Oh, you were born in Spain. Why wouldn't you know? So you know the word. That's academic. I go to class, I listen to the tape or the whatever, I read the book, the translation thing, I go to the website, what am I saying? I just like take a picture of something in a foreign language and tap on the text and it'll translate for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an academic exercise that these days doesn't even take you having a knowledge of anything other than how to work technology to get the answer you want, right?
Yeah, but that's a very analytical. That's coming at it from a very.
But it is. But what I'm saying is when you look at
how I would.
When you look at translation is not just that. Just like communicating to a customer is not just dumbing it down.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
There's nuance in translation, because when you're translating something, it goes back to that word and tonality thing where you say something like, I did not say he hit the ball. Okay, well, depending on the inflection I put on it, I did not say he hit the ball. 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 So depending on the stress, which word you stress, it changes the meaning of the words, but the literal translation is the same in every case if I translate it to Spanish.
Yep.
The only thing that changes the meaning of it is the nuance, I say, or the tone. So while if I was talking to a Spanish speaker,
you could add context to that too.
You can, but if I was sitting across the table from a Spanish speaker and they didn't speak English and I don't speak Spanish, and I said, and I changed the tone, they would hear the tone in my voice.
Sure.
They would see my body language.
It's like when you watch those movies sometimes, and the subtitles, and you don't know what they're saying. We were watching a show the other night, and it's a movie. I can't remember what movie it was. A movie I've seen for a while. Oh, it was Fools Rush In, and they were speaking a bunch of Spanish and stuff. And for some reason, the subtitles weren't coming up when Selma Hayek was speaking Spanish. But you could kind of get the idea because of the tone that you're talking about.
Exactly. And so there's some of that. But true translation is where you not only translate the words, but you have the nuance that goes with it and the subtext that goes with it and intent that goes with it, which comes sometimes from using different words than the words you would use in one language. Use a different word in the other language because it's more to the meaning of the what you're saying than the literal translation would be. And so that is something that when I think of translation, like a translator, that person has a lot more skill than just looking up a word and putting in the word in the language.
Oh, sure.
And that's what I mean here. So problem solving is a lot about translation.
Oh yeah, I'm getting a vision of you see the guy, the lady doing the sign language.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she isn't just signing with her hands. You look at her facial expressions.
Oh yeah,
it's all there
her whole
too,
body.
so.
The whole body's involved in that. And so that's really where problem solving becomes complete, is when you can translate what you found, why it's that way, what caused it to be that way. You can translate what needs to happen. You can translate what are the consequences of not doing it. It's so FAB, really, features, advantage. You're explaining all that. You're translating from your electrician speak into customer friendly language with their profile.
Even that is part of it. And I said that on an earlier podcast too, like, if you can't explain it to a fifth grader, you don't understand it. But even that, I don't think really captures what you're describing, because that implies it's just the technical. I need to come up with a metaphor like FAB, right? I need to come up with this metaphor for what this thing does, right? What a T&P valve does, or a surge protector or whatever. You're absolutely right. It's tone and all that, because
there's another piece to it. The other piece of that is context of the individual. So if I'm just translating and acting, if the scene is supposed to have, I'm saying a certain thing and it's supposed to have a certain emote certain things and convey unwritten or unsaid things and emotions and all this, and I do that scene, and then I just translate that scene successfully, not just the words, but all the other stuff that goes with it. That's great. I can do that. However, this is not acting here, and there's a real person in a real situation that you have to consider. And so that context has to be in there too. So it's not just, this person's a high S profile, so I got to translate it, the words, and then my tonality and the words I use and the speed and all that. I got to do that. You do those things, but then that's in context of the fact that you just told them they have a Zensko panel that has lost its UL rating and is a literal fire hazard that could go at any time.
Mm-hmm.
There's context now.
Sure.
Right? And so that is what translation is to me completely, which proves and shows the depth of your problem solve. And that makes you a full problem solver right there.
Mm-hmm. You could, I guess what I was trying to convey was, as an expert, and you try to say, well, if you don't know it well enough, you can't explain it to this fifth grader. That really puts the focus on the technical, which we have agreed that's part of this thing. But you could know something really, really well and still not be able to, like you say, translate it to a customer. I know guys that know stuff really, really well, and they have a harder time translating, because they have a harder time, quote unquote, dumbing it down, like you were saying.
Yeah, it could happen, but that's why you got to practice.
Yep.
That's why you got to drill. You got to work on your explanations. You've got to work on your analogies. We've talked about inappropriate analogies before, not inappropriate from a not safe for work standpoint or whatever, or taboo, but inappropriate in that you're because analogies are a translation tool. That's what they are. Because you're trying to translate an idea, a concept to somebody, and just translating the words won't do it. You have to have that analogy, and there's some that are inappropriate to use because they convey an idea that's incorrect.
Yeah, and while we don't want to convey incorrect ideas, all metaphors, all all analogies aren't going to convey the idea perfectly.
No, but
So
there
I
are
think a
some that
lot of
are
texts get
closer to the
stuck
mark.
on. You're absolutely right. There's more that are close to the mark, and that's, again, that goes back to your point about practice and refining and having that feedback too, right, from other people
Yeah.
that can say, well, you might not want to say this instead. But from the other end of the spectrum, you got texts that are really good at their trade, and the reason they find it hard to, again, quote unquote, dumb it down is because no analogy or metaphor really captures it, right?
Yeah, it's true. And you can be very nitpicky on that. And I can be that way too with analogies. I'll give you the one that really that I use as an example on this. And it's not terrible, but the other thing we got to consider about translation is what else are we bringing into the conversation when we translate that we don't realize. And so we think about an analogy as a translation tool. So for HVAC, capacitor is one. A lot of technicians say, well, this is like a battery. And, it provides power for your motor and all. Okay, broadly, yes.
From an electrical standpoint, it is similar. Yeah.
Yeah, it has some similarities. I would not call it similar. I would say there are some similarities. And here's why that I think it's inappropriate. First of all, it's not like a battery, because a battery, maybe a high hertz rechargeable battery, maybe. But because what does a capacitor do? It stores and releases power.
Stores, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what does a battery do? It stores and releases power and goes dead unless it's rechargeable. Okay?
Yeah.
A capacitor stores and releases at 60 hertz. So 60 times a second, right?
Yep.
And it is a voltage amplifier too, because it might be hooked into a system that's 220 volts, but it's delivering 330 or 440 volts to a motor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Purposes are make sure the motor starts and that it stays running smoothly, right? Okay, if it's weak or doesn't work, the motor may not start. And then if it's weak, you start causing damage to the motor, all this kind of stuff, right? Well, when you use a battery as an analogy, okay, from the standpoint of storing and releasing energy, got it. That's the similarity. But they're not similar because
that's where the similarity ends.
How big is a battery generally? Now you're talking to a consumer. How big is a battery?
Like a car battery?
Well, we're not using a car battery as the analogy. Usually we're using a battery.
Oh, okay. So like a AA or something like that?
Yeah, so a customer's going to think of a AA battery.
Yeah.
Okay, when was the last time anybody called someone else to replace a AA battery in something?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Good point. Yep.
Okay, you don't have a professional come out to replace a AA battery. Also, where do you buy your AA batteries?
Oh, Walmart.
Or you order them on Amazon.
Yeah.
How much do you pay? How much does one AA battery cost?
Oh, a couple bucks.
Couple of bucks. A rechargeable one, maybe $5.
Oh.
So think about this now. Capacitor is much bigger than a AA battery. It's much bigger than a D battery, and I don't even know if anything uses D batteries anymore. But it's much bigger. Okay. Similarity, in physical appearance, it's like a bigger AA battery. It's like a huge AA battery, right?
No,
okay.
Maybe bigger than a D cell.
Okay, so there it is. But you're going to charge me $350 for that?
So
because let me finish.
Yeah.
Dissimilarity. AA battery, you change yourself and you pay $2 for it.
Sure.
No, I don't call a professional.
I like where you're going, because we started out talking about how it might convey the concept, the idea, like you said.
Mm-hmm. But
we also have to be careful. What you're saying is we also have to be careful with the I'm finding the right word, but the noun or the thing that we're using to convey that idea, because even though it's only meant to convey an idea, customers still going to hear that battery.
Well, they're going to put it in their context.
Yeah.
And their context is, I got some of those in the drawer and I can do it myself. I don't call a professional to change the batteries in my remote control.
Yeah. Now
And
I
I
feel
certainly
stupid.
don't pay $450 for it.
Yeah. Now I feel stupid. I'll never do that again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And so we just got to be careful, and being a good problem solver means that you use appropriate analogies and you understand the consequences of using an analogy, what the intended and unintended consequences are. But to wrap it up, a problem solver is someone who not only can technically diagnose and solve a problem, but they can also successfully, appropriately translate and convey what they found, what caused it, what damage it's done, what needs to be done to correct it permanently, and what benefit or consequence is, what benefit is there to doing it, what consequence is there to not doing it, but framing it with the appropriate urgency. And we're never doing it to manipulate a customer in terms of, where I can see it sometimes is, well, that's too expensive. Well, no, when you consider what kind of, that could go and that could go and that could go and that could cost you $10,000. But in reality, no one's ever going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're just using the $10,000 to make them do the thing today, not because it's a probable occurrence, right?
It could occur, but
it's not probable.
How likely is it? Yeah, it's not probable.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As a professional armed with this information, we have to be responsible in how we use it. It's like a doctor walks by you and sees you, I don't know, eating a bag of Twinkies or something and goes, "You're going to have a heart attack if you don't stop that." Like a heart attack for you is imminent if you don't stop that. Like,
he hasn't evaluated you and your body.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, I get it. If I were to do this for a long time, yeah, I'm increasing my risk. But is a heart attack possible? Sure. Is it probable? No.
Well, you're speaking to building options that are right for the client in their home.
But that's another thing, problem solver, is being able to convey what needs to be done in a way that makes it easy for the customer to make the right decision. And that's options. It's how you present. It's using your diagnostic checklist with the red, yellow, green. It's showing physical evidence. It's doing all those things. That is a true problem solver.
Yeah. Well, you said one word that I think gets us back to where we started. Maybe we can end with it. And then you said permanently, fixes it permanently. And we started talking about how these skills are related to our technical ability, our technical excellence. Well, you could end there too with with that word permanently. You want to permanently fix it, and that demands you be technically excellent, because you can't come up with the right options or know what the issues are, or the repercussions of things, unless you know your trade well.
That's right. Well, that's a good place to stop. We'll have to pick up with Revenue Producer on the next podcast. If you want to know more about this, then you can reach me at 254-733-7109 or Elmore at servextra.com, servextra.com. If you want to talk to Jesse about this,
it's jesse.o@thehappyoutlet.com. That's jesse.o@thehappyoutlet.com.
Go to our website, www.servextra.com. You can check out other episodes of the podcast. You can like and share it. You can leave a review. You can share with us topics you'd like to hear from us. You can also check out our blogs and other articles and videos and things we have up there, and downloadable resources for you to help you. But also check out our classes. They're coming up soon here in Buda, Texas. You can find those on the website. You can sign up right there. You can see the agenda and everything we cover and where to stay and how to get here and all those things. But go ahead and do that. If you want to come, talk to somebody here at Service Excellence or sign up for yourself and get that done, because the seats will go quick. So, Jesse.
Yes, sir.
What do we do here at Service Excellence?
We turn learning into earning.
That's right. Thank you. Bye, everybody.